What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Campus Cuts. Today, I got a great guest. I got an entrepreneur. I got a man who basically represents this generation, an explorer, a traveler, somebody that is out there breaking the mold. Man, if you haven't followed him on TikTok, on IG, Twitter, YouTube, a man that is on the frontier of digital real estate, and as well as being able to take that personal brand to its peak. Mr. Rene Lacad, welcome to the show, brother.
Tanaka, it's good to be here, man. It's good to be here. That was quite the intro. I love it.
Nah, dude, gotta pay homage. Gotta pay homage to what you've done and who you are, man. So I really appreciate you taking the time out to be on the show. Super excited that you're on. Super excited that you are so chill to be able to come on, bro. I was on your live last night, just listening to all the gems that you were dropping. So, man, like it's so wild. The people that you want to reach out to are literally that one DM, that one message away, literally. So, thanks for being, thanks for making this come true.
I mean, I'm big on that, dude. Like, here's the internet changed my life, and the internet is changing the lives of millions of people. So, the fact that people can reach, you're across the country, right? You're like or you're in another country. Where are you at right now?
I'm in Canada right now.
You're in Canada right now. I'm in LA. So we're in two very different places across the country. And the fact that we can connect and like build a relationship, build a friendship because of the internet, shit is incredible, man. Sorry, can I curse on this?
Yeah. You're good. You're good.
Cool. Okay,
Be your true and authentic self.
perfect. I love it.
Yeah, man, it is definitely incredible. The power of social media, because we're gonna go more into this. Cause definitely want to get your insight because you are continuing to master social media, but this is just great. So, of course, you know the background when we had the meeting, but for anybody that's new to this, Campus Cuts is basically my rendition of the shop. It is a intergenerational, multicultural show that brings together entrepreneurs, students, faculty, staff, community members, athletes from all walks of life, just be able to chop it up in the barbershop. So that's the whole concept. Got this from LeBron James and Joe Rogan. So shout out to those two influences, just to be able to create actual real dialogue, especially in these times, just to comment on society, culture, but most importantly, bring the guest on and give their perspective and share their view. So, but with that, do you want to go dive in? So give a little synopsis of who you are. So what is your name? What is your occupation? And what is your hometown? And then we'll move on from there.
Absolutely, man. Well, my name is Rene Lacad. I love those two shows you mentioned, by the way, Joe Rogan and The Shop. But my name is Rene Lacad. I'm a 25 now as of last week, 25-year-old entrepreneur. I'm from West Covina, California. And then I moved over to Los Angeles, which is about an hour away. And I am just big. I think my goal in life is just to inspire everyone, because I didn't come from much. I came from a place, I had a single mom. She never made more than like 35 grand a year. So we would be struggling to kind of make the bills, but she always found a way to like take care of me and my little brother. So I found a way out because of social media, because of marketing, because of the world that we live in. And I made it kind of my mission, and this is why I built the social media platforms and the personal brand, to show kids what's possible. Because I've been in that place where I remember being at my mom's house, and she would say, like, how are you going to start a business? How are you going to succeed in life without college or without this, without that? She just didn't understand what was out there, the possibilities, the realm of possibility. So it's my job to show the world that, because now it's crazy to me how many kids don't realize, like, you have everything you need right in front of you. You have a computer, you have internet access, you have a phone, you have your platform, you have your vehicle to go and change your life, change the world even.
Right. That's super good, man. I love that. See, it's just like people like you, people like Gary V, Sean Kelly, just like, LeBron, Oprah, there's so many different examples, and Jay-Z. And I remember I was watching this Jay-Z clip yesterday, and when Rod Nardwar, the interviewer, like the YouTube interview, he was like, "Hey, who's Jay-Z?" And I was like, "Man, I'm just a kid from the projects who made this thing called the American dream come true and happen. Even though I
Yeah.
was not the smartest, even though I was not what this and that and the third, I could have been thrown in jail. I used to sell drugs. I'm here, and I know people that were still in the projects who are definitely much more smarter than me, but they're not where I'm at, and I'm just grateful, and I just want to continue to do that. And no, he said, "Oh no," and then Nardwar was like, "Oh, what's your name?" Like, "Oh, what's your name?" He's like, "Oh, my name's Sean Carter." But see,
Mm.
but through that, that is super important. I loved how you made that emphasis of, hey, this is who I am. This is just a kid who came from nothing. And especially in this age and day and age where digital media and digital culture, everything's moving so fast, and a lot of people um, are pretending to be somebody that they're not. How
Mm.
are you able to continue to make sure that you were able to demonstrate and showcase that who you are and you actually being genuine?
So yeah, I think that's a big part of it, man. And like Jay-Z is one of my biggest like business influences. Just because he gets it. You don't have to be the smartest person in the world. You don't even have to be the most talented person in the world. You just have to have the willingness to learn, determination, kind of like that like roughness about you to get things done. But I think when it comes to authenticity, that's the only way that you're gonna succeed. Because here's my take on it. You
Right,
can only fake being someone else for so long,
right,
right? Let's say you have a career, you can only fake being someone else for so long before it starts to wear on you. Anytime you see it, you're going to start seeing cracks in the cement, right? If you build a foundation that's not solid, you're going to see cracks in the cement. If you are building a brand, specifically a personal brand, or especially a personal brand, based on who you really are, who you authentically are, you will never have any cracks in the cement. You will never have any incongruency because it's just you. Like me and you talking right now, I'm just telling you my story. I'm not telling you some like fabricated shit that like some like publicist made for me. Like
right,
I'm just telling you like my life. And the cool part about it is because I lived in the age of social media, you can even go back and check on stuff. My Twitter at like in 2014, I used to tweet a bunch of stuff. Like it's kind of
yeah, yeah,
cringy.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's cringy because I see it now. I'm like, oh, what was I doing? I was 18 years old talking reckless. Like I'm saying shit that like an 18-year-old shouldn't be saying. Like I'm gonna be a boss and then fuck you guys. But it came true in a sense because I believed in it, and it may not have been
Right,
the reality at the time, but I believed in it and I learned from it, and it feels good because no one could ever tell me that this person I am today is like a facade or not real because I've been this person for the past 10 years, 20 years of my life. Um, and it's just been 100% me. And I think that's what makes it easy. That's what makes talking to you easy. It's what makes me creating content on a daily basis easy because I just have to be myself.
right, man. Whatever you just talk about those tweets, bro. It kind of reminds me of like even when Russ was talking mess on Twitter. I
Mm-hmm.
was listening to his audiobook, "It's All in Your Head," and I mean I've done the same thing. I
Yeah.
literally have it on my wall. And this was actually a tweet that I got from you. It's I'm either going to end up on Forbes, or I'm going to be homeless, like
Uh-huh.
straight up. And right now in my
Hey, Tanaka, I lost you a little bit. You cut off just a little bit. Sorry.
can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. But you said you took a tweet from me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh no, this disconnect. I'm in this position right now where I got this dream and my back is kind of against the wall. And I literally put that down. It's like, yo, it's either I'm going to be on Forbes or I'm going to be a bum. Just like this idea of just being able to build, Tava Multimedia Group and try to continue to build this personal brand and all this, that, and the third. I'm feeling a little bit of pressure, but
Mm-hmm.
what the pressure, you're either going to break or you're going to be a diamond.
Yeah.
And just talk about that idea when like those times when you felt like your back was against the wall and how were you able to respond? Like how was that just that mental outlook for you whenever you felt in those situations?
So here's the thing about my life. I always feel like my back is against the wall because the way I
Mm,
set it up, like even when I had no money, I would spend everything I had to
right.
try and build a business. Even now, like I have more money, but I'm still spending a lot of it investing into like a personal brand or like doing stuff, investing it into a business that I'm starting. So I feel like my back is always against the wall. It's hard to operate out of a place of comfort, right? Like
Right.
if you, and that's the reason why I think like people that, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of people that have things handed to them, they have a disadvantage. Because people always say stuff like, oh, well, I never had anything handed to me. Like, neither do I. And I think it's an advantage because now I'm in this place where I operate like I've always operated with a chip on my shoulder and I'm always in attack mode because I remember what it was like to have nothing. People that have it handed to them never had to deal with that pressure of like, shit, if I don't get this done, I have no food. So I think pressure does exactly what you say it does. It creates diamonds out of people. And very rarely do people break. You might think, oh, what about all the people that are not successful right now? They're not broken. They're surviving, but they're working, right? Like if they had money, those same people that are barely surviving and working around, oh, Tanaka disconnected. We're gonna wait on him to get back. Are you back? You can hear me? All right.
I'm here. Yeah,
Cool.
I could hear the whole time.
Cool. Yeah, so it's like that pressure is what makes people go. It's what makes people go, plain and simple. You apply enough pressure on anyone, they will go. And breaking under the pressure is just, it's giving up, it's not breaking. That's what I tell people. You can't break. You can give up and live a normal life if that's what you want, but you can't really break. Um, very few situations where people actually break.
Whew. Bro, you can give up, but you can't really break.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself is a bar.
Love it. I'm gonna put that in a song.
All right. Give me a quick second. Did you hear that?
Yeah. You said it was a
Bro, you
bar.
can give up, but you can't break.
I'm gonna put that in a song.
Bro. No, yeah, I've checked out a little bit of your music, man. Um, all right. We're gonna go on a quick little commercial break, real quick. Pardon. Just do it with a little to connection. I want to get somewhere where the conversation can actually flow. So
Love
with
it.
that, I'm just gonna put a 30-second um countdown, and we'll be back. Give me 30 seconds. All
We're
right.
back. We're back.
Be back. Yeah, pardon back. Just the connection sometimes can be a little bad up here, but it's a-okay. It's all good. Bro, you brought some really great points in just in terms of your journey, and I really love how you were just able to continue just to have that background, just to continue just to build on what you were, bro. So now my question for you is, you talk about you were in a college experience, and I was remember watching your video, your little vlog with you and your teacher and your best friend. just your college experience, and then after that, how you always felt like, in the classroom wasn't necessarily always for you. And what the pod, I don't want, we're going to go in a completely different direction, but I don't want a same repeat of the questions that you've always gotten to learn. But when you were a senior in high school, bro, what was like your mindset at that time? What was like the way that you were thinking? What were the things that were kind of important to you? And talk about the evolution of just your mindset and how you were able to grow.
So that was, I think senior year was like such a big part of it, because right, that's when you're becoming an adult. That's when shit starts to get real. Because before that, everything prior to that is like, you're a kid, you got years to figure it out. Senior year is when shit starts getting real, because like all your classmates start getting accepted into colleges. They start doing all this like SAT stuff. And I remember I was there. I was kind of like, what do you want to do? Because my teachers were like, hey, you're brilliant, but you just don't apply yourself. I was like, yeah, but I don't know what I want to do yet. So they tried to make me talk to counselors. I said no. I was like, yeah, I can figure it out. And I remember so I've always remembered senior year. I remember like I wanted to be big. I didn't know what. I didn't know what. I just knew I wanted to be like known, right? Renowned, I guess. So I picked up a book that was in my teacher's class. I'm happy it was in there. It was Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Shout out Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I went and picked up that book. I started reading it, and I was kind of like, this is cool. Keep in mind, this is 2013, like, and the 2012, 2013. Entrepreneurship now, I feel like in today's 2020 world, everyone wants to be a fucking entrepreneur. Back in 2012, 2013, it was definitely around, but it wasn't like popularized as it is. And I remember reading that book.
Vine, that was like Vine Star, the peak of Instagram a little bit, like, well, the beginning of Instagrams for real. YouTube height, like YouTube was at its height.
Yes. So like, I was kind of like this, like, I want to be an entrepreneur. This is what I want to do. I want to have a business. I don't want to have to worry about money. Because Rich Dad, Poor Dad, if you don't know, it's about like he had two dads. Like one was actually his neighbor, but like his actual dad was like his poor dad that taught him like bad things about money or misconceptions about money. And his rich dad was someone that taught him how money actually worked. So at that point, I was like, there's a whole different world. Like there's something that people don't even know about. And after that, I went to senior year. I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I'm gonna go to college to make mom happy, right? I'm sure a lot of kids are in that position, and which is why they relate to me. But I went to college to make mom happy, and I'm sitting there in class thinking, because I remember talking to my classmates, and I was kind of like, you guys don't ever think like how is this gonna help us in the real world? Like what's your plans after this? And everyone in college, it's kind of just like, well, I'm gonna get a job and do this. Like our professor's so smart. And I remember sitting there, I'm like, this guy is our professor. Like, what does he do? Like, he's just another teacher. And especially community college, like it wasn't like anything. There was no professors that were brilliant, that blew my mind. I was like, this fucking guy, like I want to be like him. I remember sitting there, I was like, this guy's not that smart, and everyone is listening to him and like acting like he knows it all. And that's when I realized I can't do this anymore. Dropped out and decided like to just figure it out and let my world unfold on its own. So long story short, that's how my senior year / beginning of my 2 weeks of college experience went.
Well, you talk about 2 weeks of college, not even a full semester, 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. That's how long I survived in there, man.
Bro, that's good. And you know what? I actually posted a little bit of content, a video that today, and it was just the idea of, you know what? Not everybody's meant to support your dream. Like, and I think it's ideas like, yo, if you don't support the dream, like, hey, if you want to be a professor, go do that. Awesome. Like, I think people nowadays, especially in like our social media age where everything's like kind of so divisive, right? It's like, yo, it's me. It's my way or the highway. It's this or that. Just because somebody chooses something different, hey, you don't have to support it, but you can respect it. I really feel like that today in our day and age right now is like this idea of respect has like, respecting somebody's like, yo, respect the hustle. Respect, Rene, when he's talking about digital marketing, talking about the law of attraction, talking about being able to get clients and calls, do this, whatever. Respect the professor that's talking about the lessons plan, whatever. Respect the person that doesn't want to be big and wants to continue to live a private life. Respect
Right.
the person that wants to, live such a lavish lifestyle that's going to continue them being in the public eye, right? I really feel like this idea of respecting somebody's hustle has now been downgraded because it's like this we live in this in between of this validation is where the respect is coming from, but rather it's like, nah, man, they just they don't want to support your dream because one, they don't see the vision, or they just don't support it. That's cool, but don't go to the point where you're trying to bash somebody's name because you're unable to respect the actual dedication and time it takes in order for somebody to do that or go through that.
Right.
What do
And this is
you,
my biggest message with that, because people always misinterpret what I'm saying. Like they assume that I'm saying drop out of college, and that's not my message at all. Not even close. Like, not even close. I dropped out of college, and I'm sharing my story. And my story might be cool because I dropped out of college, so it sounds like I'm making it cool, but I'm not. My biggest thing is just doing what you love and doing what makes you happy, regardless. Like, so here's a great example. If a kid tells me, "Hey, I'm in college. I hate it. It's not what I love to do." My advice to that kid is drop out of college. Why are you there wasting your time, wasting your money or your parents' money, doing something you don't love? Go figure out what you like to do. College will be there. But there's also the flip side. Let's say a kid is like in college and he's like, I love it. And when I'm done, I'm going to get to become an engineer or like whatever he likes to do. Fucking stay in college if you love it. But at the end of the day, it's just doing what's going to make you happy. If you're doing it for no reason, if you're doing it because society or your parents tell you to, you're in college for the wrong reasons. Same reason for entrepreneurship. If you are doing it because you want to be cool and you want to be validated and you want this or that, you're in it for the wrong reasons. You're not doing it for the right reasons. So it's about the reasons why you're doing things, not necessarily the validation or any of that. And I think that's, we can go into this a little bit later, but I think that's the biggest reason people buy all these social media followers, to feel cool. Doesn't do anything for you.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, man. But before we dive into that, man, I also wanted to get an understanding of um, your cultural background and what that means to do. Of course, this was like, a diversity podcast at first, but I
Mhm.
think this idea of intersectionality, especially as we continue to move out to the world, is very prominent. Um,
Mhm.
like, so talk about that experience of, yeah, coming from a single mom, but also being like, a first generation American.
Mhm.
How was just that the area of the idea of you being able to grow up as somebody from the Philippines and somebody that didn't necessarily come from like a lot of money? Like, what does it mean for you to be to wear your heritage on your sleeve? Um, yeah,
I get that question a lot. So one of the biggest, like, it's so funny. Like, I get a bunch of like stuff I see regularly on my social media. One is a big one is like heritage, or like, you're Filipino. Oh my goodness, like, I'm Filipino. Yes, like, oh, I love that. Um, this was my take on it, just like growing up, because I'm very proud to be Filipino. But like, I'm not as in tune with like my cultural Filipino heritage as like you might think, because I see people that are like, they be wearing the flags on their hats and like all
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Um, Here's what it was for me. My mom came here when she was like 25, 26 as an immigrant from the Philippines. Um, and when I was born, we settled into like a town, like a small town, not even a small town, like a suburb in Los Angeles. And growing up, I remember, because there were memes about it. Like, the city I grew up in was like I won't say predominantly black, but like the schools that were there had a lot of like black kids. So naturally, me coming from a single mom, um, me being brown, like, I just kind of like fell into like just my pocket of like, all my friends growing up were like black. Um,
right.
so I almost kind of like, that's how I grew up. So that's what kind of I took on. I played basketball. Like, I enjoy rap music. I'm not saying that's a black thing, but like, that's just what I grew up listening to.
Right.
And it was very interesting because the Philippines is, I don't want to say they're a racist country, but they're a third world country. And throughout time, right, like, even, and I realized this too, there's always been like colorism. Um,
Right.
where, because I remember growing up, my mom, like, I'm gonna say it, but I'm not like, I don't really. I'll explain. My mom was like racist growing up.
Yeah,
She,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
don't
yeah,
hang out, and it was a normal thing. Don't hang out with like the black kids. Like, why are you hanging out with all these black kids? Blah 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 blah. And I remember, because I'm growing up and I'm figuring this out on my own, because I'm like, my mom says not to hang out with these kids, but these are my friends. Like, these are the people I love. Like, what's
right,
going on? And it was really, so. Long story short, that's kind of like the culture like I picked up my entire life. And it's just everything, the way I talk, the way I dress, who I hang out with, who I get along with, like what I relate to. Um, and I remember this was a big moment for me, right? Because like my mom was just big on like her Filipino shit. And
yeah,
I remember I was dating a black girl and I showed my mom and she was like really upset, blah, blah, blah. And this was the biggest like turning point, where I feel like everything came together for me and I was able to kind of like accept everything for what it was. My best friend, Eric, he's the guy you saw in that video.
yeah, yeah,
I he went he used to hang out with me all the time, but I remember one time he went to my mom's house and we like, he used to go over a lot, but eventually like he just grew on her. Like my mom fell in love with him just because he's always there and he always be like, "Hey mom, like how are you?" And
yeah, yeah,
like something clicked in her head where it's like how she was always raised to be like, kind of like, oh, the darker someone is, like the worse they are, blah blah blah. Something clicked in her head where she's like, this is like, he is no different. Like he's an amazing human being, just like my son, and like they're like best friends. And something clicked in her head, and now every time she's just in love with him. Every time she sees him, she's like, "Hi, son, how are you doing?" And he's like, "Hi, mom." And it was like a beautiful thing because like now my mom is no longer like that. It's like we erased 20 fucking something years of programming just by showing her, um, from experience, right? Because like I
yeah,
said, the Philippines was a colonized country, um, first by Spain and then by the United States. So
yep,
all that stuff, all that like systematic stuff, bleeds into the culture there. So to see that programming undone, it was beautiful, man. It was like, that shit touches my heart to this day. Like it's one of the best parts about my life.
right, right. And I think like that's so beautiful, especially in a time where um we're losing that, bro. We're losing that. We're losing it. Like, all you see is hate. And it's
Hmm.
so funny because you got people like you, people like me, people like, and so many other people out there, like, emitting positive energy, all this. But it's still like, ah, shoot, there's so much. You over here, you got the bag and everything. So it's like, okay, whatever. But talk about that. The idea that, do you feel like you have a sense of responsibility, especially with, not with you, like, your social media following, and but the amount of eyes that they have on you. What type of like call to action do you always try to give to your followers, but also like this idea, like, what do you feel like a weight? There's a weight on you. Do you feel like that you have a way to continue to emit that positive energy, even when you don't even feel like it?
Yes, yes. And I actually made a post on this. I didn't end up posting it because I don't know. I don't like posting anything that would bring people's energy down. But this is like 2 months ago. Even to this day, like this stuff still weighs on me.
Right.
It feels good when something is not a job, right? Like I'm big on not having a job because it's cool, like freedom. With
Yeah.
me, social media has become a job, in the sense that right now across all socials, I have close to 500,000 followers. And there are
Yeah.
people that look up to me, people that look to me for inspiration. I know personally, like I look up to, I have a few like inspirations in my life. The biggest one is LeBron James. He's my biggest inspiration out of everyone. It used to be Drake, now it's LeBron James. But
Why the switch up?
uh,
Why the switch up? You gotta explain that.
uh, I look at it like story arc, right? LeBron was, he was a kid with a single mom, no dad, gave him millions of dollars when he was like 18 years old, and from that point to now, he's had nothing dramatic. There's no baby mama drama. There's no jail records. There's no crime records. Nothing dramatic. In fact, it's only been good from that point on. He's had an amazing career. He's even built a school in his hometown where he grew up, designed to prevent the stuff that he had to go through. um, and like he did studies to see like what would create the biggest success rate, and that's why that school has great test results. So on top of that, and then he's doing all the awareness. The shop, for example, the shop, you are a product of LeBron James in a sense,
Really?
because of the shop, and now you have this. So what
Right.
he's doing is creating a ripple effect through society, through the world, inspiring people like me, like you. He's just incredible, dude, incredible. Whereas like Drake, he's doing the same thing. He helps me like from an entrepreneurial, calculated perspective. But I don't know. Do I want to follow his life arc? Not necessarily. Seems a little lonely to me. Not saying that he is. I don't know Drake, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But outside looking in, that's what it seems like. So LeBron is kind of like my guy.
Yo, bro, I really love how you said that. The idea whenever we feel like there's this fascination of celebrities, fascination that I put it simple as this. You you think that I said this to my friend. I was having a discussion like, yo, everybody at one point, everybody's a celebrity now.
Yeah.
Literally have social media designs that say, yo, followers. People are
Mhm.
following you. People are looking
Exactly.
at you. People like this. Like, you have influence. People out here are really sad that they don't have like 10K followers, 5K followers, 2K followers, this, that, and the third. And
Hmm.
it's like, before the age of social media, throughout your lifetime, you would have had an influence in 70,000 people's life throughout your lifetime.
Hmm.
Now that is hyper inflated. So imagine just that pressure alone. Okay, as like you got a celebrity now on yourself, but now you look at a celebrity and you also see that, hey, um, that guy, that's lonely. They might be
Yeah.
flashy, whatever. It's cool. It's cool. It's great. Like, power to them, and I respect them. I love the hustle. I love everything about that. But when you really think about it, like, I don't want a lifestyle like Drake. I
Yeah.
don't want a lifestyle like uh, Travis Scott. I don't want a lifestyle that's
Right.
like, to the point where, one, each and every move that you're making is criticized just under a microscope, and then two, it's the idea of just like, you're being crucified whenever you just make something. And then so now I wanted to ask you, bro, how
Real
do you,
quick, real quick. I just
yeah,
wanted to because finish my point. I deviated a little bit. I have ADD, so I bounce back and forth. But
yeah,
I guess the
yeah.
biggest thing, the reason I was kind of going there, is because I have a social media following now, right? Like social media is a job. A bunch of kids will look to me for inspiration. They'll find me. So if I were to just stop with the social media shit, a lot of kids that look up to me, like Rene Lacad is my number one guy, would be like, where did he go? Why did he disappear? Um, like they're almost gonna feel like I let them down.
Mm,
And let's say it's I have, like I said, 500,000 people. Let's say 10,000 of them are like super like just gung ho like Rene Lacad fans. Like this is my favorite person. That's still 10,000 people that I let down, and it's like I will never be able to live with that. So um,
mm.
I'm willing to just carry the burden of having to post even if I don't want to post, or having to put on a happy face, because at the end of the day, dude, I'm not as important as 10,000 people. No matter what my achievements are, no matter how much I accomplish in life, I will never be as important as 10,000 individual people. And for me to be able to help them, is just, I'm blessed for that. So that was my take on that entire thing.
Man, yeah, that actually was gonna go to the next question, man. Like, um, yeah, again, in our minds in psychology, whenever we just read comments or we see anything, like, you always see the good comments, but then that one comment just really just sticks out to you. How was the like? Talk about your very first time that you ever received your very crappy comments. That comment that was
Um,
just, it hit, and then how have you been able to build that, that wall of steel, to not be able to make it sting as much?
so I actually have a funny way of dealing with the comments. I don't deal with it because people be like, oh, because people get mad. So this is how I deal with comments.
Right.
I deal with it just like I'm not above anyone, because like I said, I'm not above anyone. I will go just as low as these people will go, not as low, but like I'll say some shit. Like I remember I get a lot of like hate comments just because people hate to see someone doing good. It's the craziest thing. If I'm doing good, people be like, "Oh, you don't got to show off." If I'm doing bad, they'll be like, "Oh, you're not even there yet. Why are you talking?" So it's like no matter what you do, you can't please everybody.
Right.
Um, but I deal with the comments in like a and just kind of like a smart ass way. I remember one guy commented like, I posted something on my TikTok and some guy was like, "Girls only like you because you have money." I was like, "Cool, you don't have girls or money, so what's your excuse?" And like I'll just say like just out of pocket things, right? Like um I'm not too good to just go down there with you because a lot of people were like, because people will get mad and they'll be like, "Oh, like you don't have, why are you paying attention to the haters?" I'm like, "Why are they paying attention to me?" Right? And it's not
Right.
like I'll obsess over it. I'm not like reading every single comment, replying. But if I see one
Right.
and I'm like, "Oh, I could say something funny," I'll just say something funny, like, and it's just some like smart ass stuff. Um, and it sucks because the ones I can't stand, the ones that like kind of get to me, are ones where people lie. They're just like lies with no basis. Like I'll do something and they'll say something like, I don't know, it'll just be a complete lie, right?
Right.
And I'll see it and I'm like, "Ooh, you're spreading something that's not true." People be like, "Oh, girls only like you because of money," or "You have a big ego." I'm like, kind of like, "Cool, that's sure." But when it's like a lie that's like, "Oh, you're like," here's one I hate when people say, "I got lucky," or "It's my parents' money." I'm kind of like, dude, don't even say that. Like, why would you joke like that? And no, I didn't get lucky because I built more than one successful business. And two, you can't say it's my parents' money. That's just a lie. Like I have pictures on my Instagram. You don't have to scroll that far. I only have like 200 posts where I'm working at the mall. I have videos of me washing dishes at a Chinese restaurant. So for people to say that I'm only successful because my parents' money really pisses me off because I'm like, I didn't. Like I had to work for this. You're like down. You're diminishing everything I've had to do for the past 5, 6, 7 years. Um, for what? Like you didn't. You're uninformed. You didn't do your research, and you're just assuming. So I see that stuff and it bugs me, and I'll reply to that. But what can you do, man? That's part of the game. Nothing you
Right.
can do.
Right. That's good, bro. That is so good. Um and whenever sometimes, man, life is funny. Like too many times, and I guess it's just this idea. I would like to say that is, I guess it's like this the idea of like um hyper access, and people always feeling like they feel entitled
Entitled.
order, in order to say or comment about your life. Because we're living in a revel. We are, and everybody knows it, but we're living in such a revolutionary time. So with this, like this hyper access and whatever, what are some of the like your personal self care tips in terms of being able to differentiate and being able to put aside or try to put that, I guess, ways of making sure people are not trying to get too much access to you, because our energy is very important, especially whenever it's like
Mhm.
dedicating to business, dedicating to relationships, dedicating to our passions or anything of that. Energy, like everything's energy. Money is energy. How are you protecting your energy, and why is it important for entrepreneurs, but for anybody to do that?
So I guess when I protect my energy, I do it like this, because I have the ability to, and I try to have a barrier between me and everything else. A great example with this podcast, you booked it through my assistant Ashley. It wasn't through me specifically. Because if I had to go through everything individually, all the comments, all the feedback, all the nitty gritty, everything, I would lose my mind. Um, so it's part of that. It's part having like someone there to be a barrier for you, and filter that stuff through. Another part of it is I don't put out stuff unless I want people to see it. So everything people see on my social media is very calculated. It's because I want you to see. It's not calculated in the sense that like I'm pretending to be someone I'm not, but it's calculated in the sense that I only show you what I want to show you. Um, Very rarely do I show you all my family time. I think I've done that like once, where I show like me and my family spending time together. But I spend a lot of time with my family. I always make time for them, but very rarely do I show that. Very rarely do I show the small little moments that I have with like my team, where we're all talking strategy, where we're like bonding, doing that stuff. Very rarely do I show you moments of like very in depth of my love life, because I know some people that put their love life on social media. I very rarely show you all of that. So I'm raw in the sense that I will tell you everything and I
Right.
will be 100% transparent with you. But at the same time, I don't show you what I don't want to show you. And I think that's important.
Mm, that's good. Because I think that sometimes, it's again with that. You want to be able to have documentation of everything, especially as you continue to grow your brand, especially as you want to continue. Like, if you just have everything, like, hey guys, this is what it is. Like, I was featured on these publications, and this is what it is. Like, like people
Mhm.
are not one, they're not going to really necessarily believe you, but they're like, oh, but you want to continue to allow that vulnerability. But I think the fine line for that right there is like you don't want to leave too much of a fine line of vulnerability where people will start using your guilt or your trash moments against you, because
Right.
like there's so like it's so easy for everything to be weaponized in that. And so I guess my next question now, like now it's like in this digital social media thing, is like how do you know, like how do you make sure that you're not feeding off this validation? What are some of the tips? Like, okay, like, hey, it's cool, we popping now. How are you able to find the balance? Like, okay, great, I have all these followers now. Like, you're in the come up, in the grind, and all that. And now that you're at the top where people are dying to be where you are, but how are you not getting so psyched out? Like, okay, I lost this amount of followers or this, that, and the third.
It's it all comes down to you, man. And the biggest thing is never lose sight of what you want.
Mm,
Because when you say that, I'm not gonna lie, like I got lost in that shit. When I started making money, I think the first time I started making real money was end of 2018.
right.
I was 22 years old, 22 years old, 23 years old, and I started making real money. I'm talking like high six, seven figures. First thing you do when you do that, like, and you're a guy, you know this, yeah. Ball out, go on fancy trips, fly out a bunch of girls, like girls, bottles, cars, designer clothes, everything, right? Like any guy, and people will be like, oh, why would you do that? Any guy that's 22, 23 and makes a lot of money that never had money growing up, that's the first thing they're gonna do. First thing I do. If you look at it, like athletes, rappers, all these guys that had no money and all of a sudden have money, first thing they do is ball out.
Right.
Um, so I'm not gonna lie, like for a good year after I made a lot of money, I got lost in it. So if you scroll back down on my content and go like back to your thing of like documentation, when you scroll back down on my content, you'll see like if you go all the way down, it's like me working at the mall, like some
Yeah.
random kid, and then like eventually you'll see the come up, like it's documented, everything is documented. Then you'll see like, oh, he has a nicer car now, like things are getting better, like it was an Infinity, nicer car, and then even nicer car. And then after that, like, oh, he's flying everywhere with a bunch of girls, like this, some like Dan Bilzerian shit. And then and you kind of see the trajectory of like, you see the entire journey, it's documented. But that's why when you look at my content, you see when I kind of got lost and all of that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, as long as you find your way back. And the way I found my way back is I remember sitting at home one night, kind of reflecting on my life. I was kind of like sad. Um, I was kind of like, damn, is this really like what I wanted to do with my life when I was 18? Like, if 18-year-old me were to look at me now, would he be like, hey, you're changing the world like you wanted to? Or will he be like, dude, you got distracted by girls and cars and money? Like, so I sat there and I thought about it and I was like, am I setting the right example for these entrepreneurs, these guys? No, because this is not the stuff that's actually important. This is not the stuff that's going to make you happy. I was making it seem like fancy trips and girls were going to make you happy when they weren't.
Mm,
So I sat there and I was like, all right, cool. From this point moving forward, I will no longer post any content like this. Any content that sends the wrong message, I will not post it. Um, and that's how you have the trajectory kind of start going the way it's going right now. Um, and yeah, man, I think in order to not lose sight of that, in order to not get stuck in that validation loop, uh, you have to know what you really want, like your
right.
goal. And is is what you are trying to get stuck in going to help you achieve that goal. If your goal is to be the most validated person in the world, then shit, you have to look at the validation. But most people, that's not your goal. Their goal is to either change the world. Their goal is either to be a happy person. Their goal is either to be have the best relationship. Their goal is to be a great entrepreneur. Validation has nothing to do with any of that.
Right.
So know what you want. Don't lose track of your goal. Focus on that, and that's how you're gonna stay the course.
Absolutely. That's good, bro. That's so good. Would you say right now that you're happy? And what does it mean for you to be happy?
I'm, ooh, that's a tricky question, but I I'm I'm happier,
Mm,
and there are moments where I'm just extremely happy. This weekend, I was so fucking happy. I was in Alaska. I was looking at the Northern Lights. That made my heart feel full.
mm,
I started a little fire, like super minimal. Just started a little fire. Had
yeah.
some wine. Happiness. It was just happy. Um, am I unhappy? No. Am I living an empty life? No, because luckily I caught myself when I was falling. But am I the happiest person in the world? Am I the Dalai Lama? Am I enlightened where I could sit in anywhere and just be happy? No. But
Why, why do you say no?
I'm no. So here's for the record. I am happy,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I think there's always levels to the happiness, right? Like I'm rich. I'm not super rich. I'm not like Jeff Bezos. So uh, I'm happy. I'm incredibly happy. But at the same time, like I said, I feel like you can always be happier, right? And as human beings, we're going to continue to chase that. But I'm happy. I'm content. I'm fulfilled. Um, but I know, like, I have this picture of my life where 10 years from now, I'm married, have a kid, with the most beautiful person, the love of my life. All my goals have been checked off. And that, when I'm just sitting there in my house and I get to look at my life and I think I won't be completely happy to the level you're saying until I'm able to sit in my house and be like, hey, this is what I've worked my entire life for. And obviously, I'm going to keep working to continue because no matter what, you're never going to be content as a human being. But I could sit there and be like, this is what I wanted. It's here. Now I just have to live this life and keep keep doing what I'm doing because I made it to this point.
Right. However, you know what? I'm going to be bold and I'm going to say I'm going to disagree with you in terms of
Mm-hmm.
I think people can find contentment, and that has happened. You know, you see that old man. There's this old nigga, the old guy from India, bro. Like, man was happy. Like he,
Yeah.
not the Dalai Lama, but like this guy, he's like 123 years old. He
Oh
wakes
shit.
does his yoga, eats his little breakfast, is all this, that, and the third, right? And so, bro, that's a thing that I wanted to definitely touch on. Is just the idea of, we're highly motivated individuals.
Mm-hmm.
At LeBron, we look at Kobe, we look at this, we look at that, and it's
Kobe
just
tattoo.
Tiger Woods. It's the Japanese philosophy of kaizen. So, like, okay, yeah, the never ending journey until we grow, but until like life is a never ending journey. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, bro, like, do you feel like this tension of satisfaction and this hard work each and every day in your life? Because again, man, like you have done some really dope stuff, and you're going to continue to do the dope stuff. But just imagine that somebody out there just wants what you want, and that's it. And it's like, bro, how is it like, oh man, I'm here, but I'm still hungry? Like, do you get frustrated with that feeling sometimes?
Yes and no. Because I agree, like you can be content. I know, like my best friend George, I'm so fucking jealous of this fucking guy. Cause this dude, he's like my age. He's married. He got a job. He's like, I'm happy. This is it for me. I'm like, that's it for you. You're done. Like, what the fuck? give, give me that. I want that. Like, no. So with me, like, it's frustrating. It's fucking frustrating. I'm like, oh, like I did this, but I want more. It's frustrating because I always want to do more. I want to do as much as possible. I
Right.
want to do 100 of these podcasts. I want to make 100 songs. I want to go platinum. I want an Oscar. I want a Grammy. I want the biggest fucking business in the world. Um, but no, because that part comes down to accepting who you are as a
Mm,
person. Like in the same way that I think you brought up Kobe, you brought up LeBron. Kobe is my idol. I got a Kobe tattoo. Virgos, we're Virgos. So, but,
Hello. Virgo.
but yeah. So LeBron said this in the interview after they won the Western Conference championship a couple days ago. He said, he talked about his and Kobe's journey and how even though they have like the same mentality, same mindset with a lot of things, they're still different. And I think it's embracing those differences that makes you who you are, and you have to be happy with those, like who you are as a person. I will never be my friend George, who's content at that state. I will never be fucking Elon Musk or that smart, right? Like his IQ is off the charts. I will never be any of these people, but I will always be Rene. And me being Rene, I'm happy with, because where they may lack some stuff, I might have some stuff. And once you see that and you're happy with it, you're happy with it. So I think being content with yourself, being happy with yourself, so fucking important.
Right. Right, man. And like, bro, now you're at the time when you're like a quarter century, bro. You're at a quarter century, man. 25, man. First of all, congratulations on that. The 25 years is a blessing.
Yeah.
How do you feel at 25, man? Like, as you like, look back and you're like, man, I'm 25, did this. Your first 25. How do you feel? How do you feel about that first 25?
I feel fucking. People laugh because like all my business partners are like 40 to 50.
Right.
Right. Or like even the younger ones are like 30 to 40. So like I'll like just tell them like, damn, I feel old. And people are like, you're old? Like you're old? I'm like, yeah, man. Like, cause I feel like I shoved so much of life, like everything that people do in life, I shoved so much of it into 25 years. Like,
Right.
what the fuck else am I supposed to do? I got to see a couple more countries. I got to build a little bit bigger business. Other than that, like, I don't know one thing I haven't done yet. So I always tell everyone, like, I feel old. And I don't know if it's not that I'm actually old, but it's just I've packed so much into such a small. I have philosophy on life where I say yes to everything.
Right. Yeah. The power of yes.
Power of yes. So everything. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. I will always say yes. Let's do this. Yes. Let's do this. Yes. As long as I have no like prior commitments, I will always do something. So I feel like I just shoved everything into my life. So I feel old. And I think it's cool because, like I said, I got over that little make money, go do my thing phase really fast. And it helps me focus on like what I want. Like I want to build this business. I want to be someone that helps inspire people instead of someone that is just flexing on the gram.
Right.
I want to be a voice. So that's how I feel at 25, man. I feel like I'm ready to start building something real, something that touches millions of people, something that gives me my contention or makes me feel fulfilled.
Yeah, that's good. That is so good that you're saying that, because when most people, especially with how everything moves, most people expect to make six figures so quickly. But it's like most entrepreneurs, the saying is, or business is, you're not a real business until you hit that 25-year mark. So you're 25, like you as a person have now built, like, okay, cool. Because your brain develops at 25, then you continue to grow older. And after that, you have the wisdom, then you continue to build. Like Nike was like, now that's a business. Amazon is like now a business, 1995. Like, so it's like, oh, okay, cool. But because like that first 25, yeah, you might have a good 6 months, good 1 year, good this. But then it's the idea of longevity and the marathon continue. Shout out Nipsey. Right.
Shout out Nipsey.
Shout out Nipsey, man. So I really love how you want to continue to build. And now this is kind of a little bit off a deviation, but you mentioned Bezos and mentioned what's his name, Elon. And looking at the wealth disparity in the world, and you're somebody that happens to be on another side, like you're doing well. Talk about that. Do you think that do you think it's ethical for billionaires to be here?
You're gonna get me fucking canceled, dude. All right, so I'm happy you brought this up. Fuck it, let's talk about it.
Yeah, bro. Let's talk about it, bro. Like, no, like this is what it is.
Yeah. It's tough. You know why? Because I feel like the world is fucking split right now, right?
Right.
There are the people that say fuck billionaires, eat the rich. No one deserves that amount of money. And there are people that are like, they look up to these people. They're like, oh, Jeff Bezos is so rich. I want to be like Jeff Bezos. He's a genius. He's a mastermind. And me, I feel like I'm the guy they just plopped right in the middle, boop, and put me right in the middle. Cause I grew up when no one had money. So everyone is eat the rich. Like all of my entire Twitter feed is like people that I've followed since I was like younger. It's all eat the rich. No one deserves this much money. Blah 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 blah. Anti Jeff Bezos propaganda. And then I also have like my successful friends who are on this side that are like Jeff Bezos he's a monster. He's a beast. He's this that. Um, so it's hard, man, because I see both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I agree that no one needs that much money. I agree. On the flip side, what I hate is when people say it's Jeff Bezos' fault. People use that to justify why they're poor.
Right.
Rich people are hogging all the money. And it's like, dude, if you don't want Jeff Bezos to have money, stop using Amazon. It's like people are like, man, fuck Jeff Bezos. I'm gonna go order my thing on Amazon right now. I'm gonna go order my fuck Jeff Bezos sign on Amazon right now. And it's like, I thought it was fuck the guy. Why are you giving him more money?
Right.
Right? But I agree. Does he need that much money? No. At the same time, like the only reason he has that much money is because he's providing value to you.
Right.
He's providing value to you. So it's like, yeah, Jeff Bezos doesn't need that much money. There's nothing you can do about it unless like you have the power to stop it. You just have to stop using Amazon.
Right.
It's like people saying like, oh, no one should be racist, but then on the side they'd be like, yeah, like I'm racist. It's like people being like, it's like, man, you shouldn't be racist, and be like, all lives matter. It's like, no, like you can't do none of that shit, bro. Like you have to like, if that's your stance, you have to rock with that stance. If Jeff Bezos doesn't deserve that amount of money, stop using Amazon. Plain and simple. If that's what you believe in.
Right.
But at the end of the day, he's providing value to the people, so there's nothing you can do about it. Like realistically, what do you think people should do about that, right? Like, what's your take on it? Let me hear your take, because you asked my take. So if I'm gonna get canceled, you're getting canceled with me.
Oh yeah, of course. Because it's so real. Because man, I was even talking about this with my one of my great friends, Mumbo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Yo, Tanaka, man, like you over here building an empire." I said, "Stop." I don't like the word empire because when I think empire, I think Rome. I think, I'm thinking Pompeii, things are gonna fall, and especially like people like trying to look at like, Trump, like, oh my gosh, like we need his tax records or he hasn't, whatever. I think it's important for one, especially in terms of definitely an equity advocate, or I do my best in order to create more equitable opportunities.
Ownership.
See, ownership. And right? And so with the equity and the ownership, in order to create more equitable means, you need to continue to have personal responsibility of your situation. Granted, so many people come from various different circumstances and things that you cannot understand. But if you're able to, again, it all starts in the mind. I'm in the camp where I think that, and see, I'm not a social. See, I'm very definitely apolitical. I think that wealth building is a human component and should be a human right. I think that each and every person should genuinely have a better and more equitable times of being able to build wealth ethically. And I think through that, and the way my personal opinion is one, being able to create programs and opportunities for people to be able to define their passions, to be able to get out of this corporate structure. Because I really think that, now especially, you can be able to get monetized. You can monetize each and everything that you're passionate about. This pod being monetized, my clothing line being monetized, speaking being monetized. So it's like there's a way out. Does Bezos have to have that amount of money? No, he doesn't have to. And especially in some of the way that again, you and see, and this is where it is, and it sucks. I'm gonna get canceled. The way that he's being built, or the way that he's building Amazon to the point where it's now getting unethical by labor from outside country. Like that's just the cost of outsourcing. You're outsourcing, and sometimes you're gonna have to cut costs in order to bring able to bring value to people. And so I think that should there be a little bit higher taxes? Um, Maybe, possibly so. And if it's used right, but at the end of the day, the government corrupt. It's the people
And
in power that corrupt.
and no, it's like the same thing. Like I said, let's say Amazon is using stuff from like outside countries, right? They're outsourcing. It's unethical. Why are you buying shit? Why are you supporting an unethical company that makes you unethical?
Ethical, exactly, exactly. And it's
So it's like the people, like at the end of the day, you are in control of it. Like you could say all this stuff, but at the end of the day, you buy stuff from there. You're part of the problem. It's not. You can't blame the organization that's providing. It's like, hey, it's like if I say, here's a gun to shoot people, and you grab the gun and you shoot someone, they're like, hey, it's his fault. He gave me a gun. It's like, no, motherfucker, you shot the gun. It's your fault.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. And I was even talking to my dad about this, and it's so funny because I feel like personal responsibility has gotten like is so like attributed to like conservatism, like right side politics. Like you're a conservative if you take personal responsibility. Like no, like if you're not personally responsible, um, do you expect somebody to feed you when you're like 25 or 21 or whatever? No, like you
mhm.
learned and you take that responsibility. You say, okay, great. So I feel like there has to be an element, and maybe in life, I think we're definitely in a very sensitive time, and I don't know, bro. I feel like we're living in a 1984 world right now, high key.
It's, I mean, this year's been messy, but especially with social media, like I said, there's good parts where it helps kids that are from nowhere become millionaires.
Right,
There's bad parts where it's like, bullshit, like this is all polarizing information and now everyone's sensitive and we got a bunch of babies in society. So it's tough. There are things to be sensitive about. Like I agree. There anything that deals with like people's livelihood, be sensitive about it. When it's stuff like how rich people are, like mind your fucking business.
right, right.
So
Because you know what, like is that business? Is that opinion? And I mean the truth. You got journalists being paid to make opinions, right? But it's like, is it paying you? Like the question is this like that person has done such a great job in order to create social capital for you to keep you to even think about them, and you not
mhm.
even saying anything. That's making them more money. It's
Yeah. So there's levels to this shit, man. But that's something so fucking beyond my, again, with me, I just try to focus on me. I'm not into like the all the crazy like shit that's going on in the world. I
right,
focus on Rene, and because at the end of the day, the only thing that's gonna make me money, that's gonna help me, is focusing on me.
right,
Me complaining about Jeff Bezos is not gonna make me richer or him poorer.
right.
Nothing gets done with that. Like I don't waste. Life is about leverage. I don't waste meaningless actions. You feel me?
Right, right. And then also like talk like, and I really like this is now a little thing I want to talk about, bro, is um, we see these people, but like, there's a great team. And there's a team. Hold up. There's a great team behind everything of that. So how are you able to find your team? Like, why do you think it's important for people to build a team, and how are you able to find your team to help work for you in order to build what you're building now?
Team is super important because your team keeps you motivated. Your team keeps you in check. Your team keeps you in place. The way I usually build my teams is one, I start like I don't give people a lot of responsibility right away.
Right,
Um, Ash, my assistant, I've known her for 6, 7 years. She went to high school with me. Um, like we've had a relationship where she's always kept it real with me. She's always kept it honest. And very recently, I think I just hired her this year. I had her like this year after 5 years of like watching her as a person, seeing how she is as a person, without any responsibilities, because then I know, is she gonna do a good job? Is she gonna keep it real with me? Like I said, as someone, me being me, I could have times where I have an ego about something, or where it's like I create some shit that's trash. So I can come to Ash and be like, hey, because even before this, I made some stuff. I showed it to her. She's like, oh, this shit sucks. I'm like, thank you for telling me. Like, I don't want to be Floyd Mayweather and just have a bunch of yes men around me. Like, I want to have like a team. So whenever I build a team, I look at one thing in particular. It's one or two things: how they will bring value to my business or my organization, and two, their character, their intent. Like, do they want the best for me? If you're going to build a team, you need people that want the best for you, and that's probably the most important, more important than the actual like what they can bring to the table. Because
Right.
if there's someone that could bring a bunch of shit to the table, but they don't want the best for you, that's bad. Because like that's hostile takeover shit. They're gonna build your company up and then say fuck you, get out of here. Uh, but if you have someone that wants the best for you, even if they don't have everything that you need to bring to the table, that stuff can be taught. The stuff like the experience can be taught. The intent, the character, the what they want for you factor cannot be taught. That's just all. That's all internal. That's all intrinsic. So I look for people that want the best from me, that genuinely want me to succeed, to win, and I bring them in as a part of my team.
That's good. And then so it's so funny because now I asked this question to another guy. His name is Ruslan. He's a rapper, independent, entrepreneur. Um, so in the moment, you're about empowering people. So do you motivate people to start their own thing? Because like his
Oh
not
yeah.
that's the one thing I'm like, all right. So now that you hire people, like, is it like you want them to work there forever, or like, hey, no, like, go do that?
Yeah, no, hell yeah. This is what I tell everyone. There are people that are built to be employees or work in your own shit. Then there
Right.
are people that are built to have their own business, right? Um, I empower every single person that works for me to go start your own shit. I would much rather be you be rich, I be rich, we're homies, we can fucking just have fun and do a bunch of fun shit since we both
Right.
have money. Um, Great example. I've had a couple videographers. My most recent one, Eli, shout out to Eli. He recently quit to just start his own thing, have his own like production company. And to me, I was like, that's fucking heart touching. Like I love seeing that. He's like my little brother. So for him to start doing his own shit, I love it because it's like, cool. Now you need to get popping, so then we can both be popping. I'm like, yo, he learned that from me. What's up? Like, you know what I'm saying? Same thing with Ash. She has her own like little like lash business where she does like lashes and sells lash supplies. I encourage that. If her shit starts making more than mine, she has to quit. That's cool. That means like she's doing it right. But at the end of the day, yes, I just want people to win, man. Fuck it. If it's not working for me, I will find there are always going to be people that to work for me.
Right.
There will never be a shortage of that. But
Right.
there will you as my friend, as someone I care about, if you can do better, do better.
Right. That's so good, bro. I love that again. That's that abundant mindset. Shout out to The Secret. Shout out to Think and Grow Rich. Shout out to Rich Dad Poor Dad. All that, see that in you right now. So these are like my last couple questions, bro. These are my
Yeah, man.
bigger questions. Um, First one, we did touch on like the state of the world real quick, but what is something that you would like to see change in the United States, bro?
Fuck,
Make
there's a
it.
lot. Systematic racism. That
Yeah.
sounds like a big one. That's a big one. But it's true, man. It's true. And I think the biggest issue with it is it's one of those things where you don't really know. You don't really know it unless you're black. And that's true. That's true. So I have a lot of like white friends that are like, oh, I totally agree. Like they need to change it, but they're not as like passionate about it because they don't understand. Um, in the same way, you as a black guy, I will never understand any of that. And I can a little bit. I will understand more than like white people because I'm brown, right? But I will never understand to the extent because I'm not black. I will never understand. And I will understand to the point where it's like I see my friends, and that's the part where it's a little bit different. But I see my friends, and I grew up in a place, like I said, where my mom was in that like system of like they teach you black people are bad and et cetera, et cetera. They teach you all these stereotypes. Um, so that needs to change. That's the biggest thing that needs to change. Biggest thing that needs to change. There's so much inequality when it comes to that stuff. Um, if I had to change one thing, it would be that. That'd be the major thing because that's the one thing like that just doesn't sit right with me ever, and I just can't with it. So that's a big one. That's my biggest change if I were to change the U.S.
That's good, bro. I like that. Um, last second to last question, man. What are three things that you would say to your 19-year-old self?
You changed it. He was about to say 18-year-old self.
No, no,
But
no, no.
it's a cliche.
No, I didn't say. I didn't change it. I was like 19.
Um, embrace who you are more. One, embrace who you are more. Because when I was 19, I was caught in trying to be this like playboy millionaire, like I'm gonna be a baller, like what's up type thing. And I didn't embrace who I was at the time, which was like this smart, charismatic person. So embrace that. Don't be shy to show that. Be you, 100% you, 100% authentic. Um, two, start investing in yourself more. When I was 19, I was obviously investing in myself, but not in the sense of like when I say investing in yourself, this is what I mean. All aspects of your life, your health, your wealth, your mental health, all of these things you have to invest in. With me at the time, I thought money was the only thing that mattered. It's not true. Like if you're unhealthy, it's not, because I got really unhealthy when I was like 2021. I got really chubby. I didn't feel good. I was sluggish. It was hard to wake up. I was yawning throughout the day a lot. Uh, so invest in yourself fully as a human being, in your brain, in your bank account, in your physical wellness. So one, be yourself, be 100% authentic. Two, invest in yourself. And three, let me think on this. Give me like 5 seconds just to think what
Are
I
you?
would tell my 19-year-old self. Um, keep that chip on your shoulder. Because I'm not gonna lie, as you make more money, it's hard to keep that. Like me, if you would have talked to a 19-year-old me, you would have been like, "No, fuck this guy. This guy sucks." Because I was so abrasive. I was just like, I was in there like, man, fuck you. I'm the next Steve Jobs. Like I was in there. And as I've gotten older, I've lost it a little bit, and it's good because I come off a little softer now. It's
Right.
bad because like I used to wake up at 6 a.m. every day. I used to go to bed at 12. I used to just power through it. Now, like I'll wake up at 10, start my day, get a little smoothie going, get some like vitamins in me. Like I feel
Because
like I feel like a sissy now. So I'm like, man, keep that chip on your shoulder. But those three, dude, be 100% you, be authentic. Don't be scared to be authentic. Invest in yourself, mind, body, spirit, everything. Um, and three, keep that chip on your shoulder. Keep that you can get it attitude. Keep that dog in you, and that's gonna help you in
yeah,
life.
yeah, that's good. That's good. Last question, brother. Really appreciate you being on the show. Um, ask everybody this question: what do you want your legacy to be?
I want to be pretty much the same thing. Like when I look at LeBron James as my idol, I want to leave a legacy where I change the world um, in everything, in everything. Uh, and when I say everything, I mean I want my music to inspire people. I want my content where I'm teaching someone to inspire people. I want my face to just be like when you see my fucking face, be like, that guy inspired me. He changed my life. He made my life different. Um, so I want to inspire people for forever, not just while I'm here. When I die, I want to be someone that inspires someone for the rest of their life. And that's what I want my legacy to be.
That's good, bro. Um, man, this is the last segment of the show. It's a little bit different. It's like I'm a big believer, and you are too. But I'm a big believer that the words are powerful. And since I'm a Christian, but just you look at all the religions, there's death and life in the tongue, right? So I just want to take this moment just to continue to just to pour over you, bro. Just give you your flowers. So the speak life section, that's what it is. Rene, brother, man. I don't know. I resonated with your content whenever I saw it, man. I was like, oh, bro, I gotta follow this guy on TikTok. I love what he's doing. I love how you continue to educate people, do it in a new way, being able to show people that there's a different reality and there's a different possibility. I love your vulnerability and your honesty and your confidence in the way that you continue to move and inspire people. I love the way that you are you're a world changer, bro. And you say that you want to continue to leave that legacy that you are I'm a product of the content that you put out there. And I bet a bunch of people are too. And the way that you continue to carry yourself and the way that you live authentically as you is something very beautiful and something to be inspired, man. Man, it's just so great to see other people, other like-minded individuals, but so many people just out there chasing your dream and you not being afraid to do that. So I just want to continue just to grow, throw your flowers at you, and just say thank you for what you've done and thank you for who you're becoming. I'm proud of you, man. It's nothing but love from over here, and I just want to say thank you for being a part of the show, taking your time out, and man, blessings on upon your life, brother.
Appreciate it, man. All love, dude. Thank you for having me. This shit was great.
All right, everybody, and that is it. We are out.
Peace.